Before Columbus sailed to America, this island was the literal edge of the map. Sailors looked at these cliffs and basically saw the end of the world. Today, El Hierro is the smallest and quietest of the Canary Islands. It doesn't have the party resorts or the golden dunes. It has silence. I've come here to see what life looks like at the end of the line. So today I've visited my final of the 8 Canary Islands. This is El Hierro. It is one of the smallest, it's the second smallest after La Graciosa, the second least populated. So I've got a couple of days here and I'm going to go and check it out. But first impressions are pretty cool. This is where I'm staying. So unlike some of its bigger neighbours, Tenerife and Gran Canaria, it's not known for beach resorts. Party towns. It's definitely not that vibe here. Very chilled, very relaxed, very, I guess maybe a more traditional way of life. Mostly just seems to be agriculture and stuff, industry wise, but it looks beautiful. Like the weather's going to be nice. We'll start making our way around the island. Right, get this wasp out of the way. I know this doesn't look good for continuity, but I genuinely have just stopped. Ah, I'm being attacked. Okay, we need to abandon this. This wasp is very interested in me. Why do I smell so tasty to these wasps? Anyway, what I wanted to say is, this island is so quiet and there's like no cars. It's not the main town's over the other side where the airport is, but I think it's like the main population centre on this side. And it's just so peaceful. Landscape wise, colours, kind of reminds me a bit of Scotland. So I'm staying just in this valley down here. Now it looks like, if you look at it from above, it looks like this whole bit is like part of a crater. The way that mountain just ends and then you've got this big flat bit. It's quite odd. And you've got this really flat level plain with these huge mountains either side of it, and they're like cliffs as well. 50,000 years ago, a third of the island snapped off and slid into the Atlantic. To understand the scale of that collapse, look at that hill with the bell tower. That isn't a mound, it's an entire volcano called Hoapira. But it looks tiny because the cliff wall behind it, the scar left by the landslide, is over 1 kilometre high. I think it's quite hard to get lost here, there's not that many roads, so I think I'll just drive and see what I find. Oh, there's a bird. Maybe you can eat that wasp. You don't have to drive far to find the aftermath of the landslide. Just down the coast, you find the Roque del Salmor. When the rest of the mountain collapsed, this harder volcanic rock were the only bits stubborn enough to stay standing. And hidden in the shadow of these massive geological ruins is a building that's trying to survive in its own way. It's definitely not a volcano, but it is a world record holder. So we're down at Punta Grande, in an area of La Frontera known as Las Puntas. This building here was built in 1884 and it was a restaurant for like almost a century. And then it was turned into a hotel. And they've got a sign up saying the smallest hotel in the world. It's called Hotel Punta Grande, which translates to the Big Point. That's a bold name for a place that looks like a Monopoly house dropped into the Atlantic.
It only has 4 rooms, and the interior is decorated with driftwood and shipwreck debris.
I kind of appreciate its position a little bit more from further away. Nice little building that stood there for over 100 years, 1894. So as well as still being a hotel, it's kind of turned itself into a little bit of a museum visitor attraction. You can visit for €5. What would Alex Polizzi think of it? Is it a hotel? Is it a B&B? Is it a guest house?
I'm trying to think of how to put this in a palatable way that won't offend anybody. No, I'm just going to say it. I mean...
So this part of El Hierro, El Golfo, or La Frontera, I'm probably going to get some of this wrong. I'm not a geologist. Loads of the land fell into the ocean. That changed like the way the lava flows or something, which meant volcanoes then started forming around this ridge, and it sort of filled in the space. And yeah, I think that's what it is, because if you look at it, starting like over there, it's like a ridge all the way around. You know, it's like a semicircle. And then this is like the other side of it as it goes round. What I'm loving about this island is it's the weekend, and okay, we are at the cloudy side of the island, so it's maybe not where people want to be, but it's just so peaceful. It's peaceful but not completely isolating, because there are like a handful of people here and there, but mostly you're kind of just hearing the sea and stuff, and it's nice.
After a day of exploring the island, walk the track at Punta del Pozo. Just a dirt track, the sun dropping into the Atlantic, and the realisation that the next stop west is Florida. This is Sabinosa. Before anyone had heard of America, this was the westernmost village in the known world. It's perched so steeply on the hillside, the locals joke that you need one leg shorter than the other just to stand around here. Take a good look around at the houses and the murals, because this is pretty much the end of the line.
Down here is the Pozo de la Salud, which is the well of health. And it was used in the, oh god, Roman numerals. XIX. What's that? 19th? Because if it was XX, that would be 1010, which is 20th. But the I comes before.
Huh?
Or could it be 16th, 15th century? I have no idea. No, the I comes before the second one, so it's 19th. Anyway, it's been used. The water here has got higher quantities of calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. People were brought here for healing and well-being, and I guess this is the well. Quite a dramatic ocean here. The hotel that's here, in theory, I looked at it and thought, oh, wonder, you know, is it like a luxury spa resort or something? Should I stay there? And I looked and it was like £100 for a night. It looks like it was a nice spa at one point in time, and that time has since passed. Nice setting though. Look at this big cave down there. That is pretty cool. Quite noisy though. I have no idea if you can hear me. And we're under the cloud a bit here, because we're kind of up at the western tip. Certainly if you want to come somewhere and get away from everything, you're pretty isolated in that here. So this is Arenas Blancas, which is apparently the only white sand beach on the island. To be honest, I've not seen a great deal of sand. I mean, I can see some sand in between the rock. Technically this sand is white. Yeah, it's not that pristine, beautiful white sandy beach that you would get on Fuerteventura, for example. El Hierro, not for the beaches. I think what there's more of here is natural swimming pools. Seems to be quite a lot. Charcos. I'm just trying to get an idea of what the weather situation is on the island, because in La Palma it's really easy. North is cold, cloudy, windy, whereas here I've not quite figured it out yet. There is sand, I'll give them that, but there's more rock than anything else. You know, sometimes there's roads you really just shouldn't drive down. That was one of them. Oh yeah, there she is. Very cute. Oh, there's a much bigger arch over here. I thought it was that little one over there. This one's far more impressive. Just me and my big arc. Right now, there's one bit of this road on the way back out here that I'm a little bit nervous about. Like it was okay coming in because it was downhill. Not so sure how the two-wheel drive car is going to be on it getting out, but we'll find out. We don't see that every day. Just casually a helicopter landing beside where you park your car. Look, I think it's picking up some of the guys that are working on the land around here. Now, we're going to me trying to get out this road. Now, it's actually alright. It's a fairly compact dirt road, right? There's just one bit of it. It's like really been dug in by big tyres. And I wasn't actually, when I saw it when I was coming down, I thought, ugh, maybe I should back out of this. But the car managed it. But I do wonder if that's because it had the momentum of going downhill. Right, let's go for it. See, like, it's very bumpy. Oh my fucking god. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I did get stuck. However, I managed to reverse, get myself unstuck, and find a different round, but I was a little bit panicked. just for a minute, just a little bit panicked that I was stuck in the middle of this island with like no people. Woo, tarmac!
Google Maps indicated that this was a legitimate road, neglecting to mention that the road was a single track with a 300-foot drop and no barriers.
That was another fun drive up. Crazy little road. Let's say the roads are dead, like, but I did meet one big truck. And you're driving on this road up here, which really is just across the top of the the ridge of the big mountain that makes the iron shape of El Hierro. Don't really appreciate how high up you are until you get to a point where, like this, where you can look down and you feel the wind. I mean, there's a big lighthouse on the end there and it just looks tiny, tiny little thing. It's very cool. So we were up, down looking at this lighthouse. Now we've driven down to it. And it's pretty sunny over here. I think this is the most westernly point of Spain. I guess this is the most westernly island and this is the far west tip.
This is Faro de Orchilla. The lighthouse is relatively new, built in the 30s, but the location is legendary. In 1634, the French declared this coastline the prime meridian, 0 degrees longitude. It was the official start of the world map until Greenwich took over in 1884. Looking west, you can see why they drew the line here. There's nothing but deep water between you and Florida, 3,000 miles away.
You can see up there, the cloud has been held back. It's swirling around at the mountains at the top, keeping all that moisture, which is why it's so dry here. So I think there's a little beach just down that way. I'm going to go and check that out. And then we're going to go and see the big landmark of El Hierro, which is a tree. And that is the sort of thing you're doing on this island. Main highlight, a single tree. I think it's quite a cool tree, but yeah, it's right on, it's back up the top again. So we're going to have a look at this little beach and then we'll go and see the tree. Okay, so it's not a beach, it's a pier. But it really feels like a pier at the end of the world because there's like nothing else here. It's just looking a little bit too rough for me. I mean, it's probably fine. I would just like it to be a bit calmer.
To get off the coast, you have to climb up to La Dehesa.
It's a great place to see the effect of the clouds. We're quite high up. Like these are the peaks. And it's just swirling around, being kept on that side of the mountains. So this side's in the sun. I don't know if we're going to cross through them, but we might well be in the clouds again in a minute. So I've come up to this gate, which is closed, but it's just for the animals. So as long as you stop, open it, get out, and close it behind you, you can still go. And this is it, the most famous tree in El Hierro, Sabina. Mad the way it grows like that. There's quite a few of these. This one's just the most impressive. And I've got it to myself. I did overtake somebody on the road down here because, I don't think they've ever driven on a dirt track before. I get that you have to go slowly, but they were going too slowly for me. So isolated. Yeah, there's loads of these trees, the same type of tree. They just look like they've just given up. Right, nah, it's too windy, guys. It's too windy up here. I'm just gonna chill out, lie down. Looks like if you keep walking here, you're just gonna fall off. Pretty much touching the clouds. I don't think the highest, but I think that must be the highest point up there. Yeah, number one sight in this island is this quirky little tree.
Inside this solitary white church sits the most important figure on the island, the Virgen de los Reyes, the patron saint of El Hierro. For 4 years at a time, she sits here in silence until the island comes to collect her. This tradition was born from a disaster. In 1741, a drought threatened to wipe out the island's livestock. The local shepherds made a desperate vow: if the Virgin brought rain, they would carry her all the way to the capital. It rained, and they have kept that promise for nearly 300 years. Every 4 years, thousands of people trek 28 kilometres across these mountains to bring her down in a procession that is equal parts exhaustion and devotion. This is HI 400, riding the spine of the island. You leave the wind-battered shrubs and enter these ancient Canarian pine forests.
It's beautiful up here. With all these pine trees. It actually smells like pine. I mean, you can see the lighthouse where it was. I do think, however, a lot of birds nesting up here. I don't think they like people. So I'm going to get back in the car. I don't want another Isla de Lobos seagull attack, although these are crows, which I don't know are like murderous. Just beautiful up here. Look at that. Oh, you're not looking at that. Come on, look at that. It's just beautiful. Look at this. Oh, look at this. And it's like, it's weird because you're so high up, so the temperature's much cooler, so it's like a pine forest.
The trees break, and you hit Mirador El Julian. This view sums up the island's split personality. Behind me is the damp forest. In front, a massive uninhabited volcanic slope sliding into the ocean. The geography here is just wild. The ridge we were just driving on acts a bit like a wall, blocking the clouds from hitting the south, keeping it dry and sunny. But when you cross the spine to the north, check out the viewpoint at Llanía.
I thought I was just coming out for a viewpoint. We've got a little at altitude hike. So I'm probably the best viewpoint on the island, maybe. So cool. So what you can see happening here is you've got the two trade winds. The lower one, which is cooler, the higher one, which is warmer and dry. Lower one's cool and wet, both coming in from the north. When the lower one hits the mountains, it's forced up, which causes it to turn into condensation cloud, which then just sticks to the side of the mountain. And it just looks like the mountain's stopping the cloud, but the mountain's actually creating the cloud, because otherwise those two streams of air, I guess, would just pass straight over. And this is really cool up here. It's so peaceful as well. There's literally no one else here. I've been here for about 15 minutes. There are tourists here, but just the volume is so low in comparison to elsewhere. And obviously, you know, it's a small island, but it's not tiny. There's still plenty of space for the few tourists that are here. I actually noticed I can see where I'm staying, where I started. Oh, the clouds moved. God, it moves really quick. Literally a minute ago, that was clear. You could see. It's nice, like the air up here. I guess it's that cool air that's condensing down there. It's still cool in the warm air that's up here. But I need to get back down. Ah, there's a wee break in the cloud now, maybe you can see. Well, that was definitely worth a little walk from the car park. It's only about 400, 500 meters or something. It's uphill. Going back is downhill. Oh, loose gravel. I hate loose gravel.
This stretch of water is known as Mar de las Camas. It's a marine reserve, famous for being the most peaceful water in the Canaries. Well, usually. In 2011, that cam was shattered as a submarine volcano erupted just offshore, turning the ocean green and bubbling like a jacuzzi. It was evacuated, and the fishing industry was shut down. But nature plays the long game here. Today, the heat and minerals from that eruption have jump-started the ecosystem. The water here is now clearer than ever and full of life. It's a bit like the island just decided to upgrade its aquarium. This is Villa de Valverde. It's the capital and home to nearly half the island's population. But don't get too excited, that's still only about 5,000 people.
I'm not expecting much. I think it's quite a small place. It's a small island.
It's not built for tourists. There are no resort hotels or souvenir shops here. It's a functional town where the locals come to go to the bank, visit the doctor, or pay their taxes. It's the big city, minus the big and the city.
And you get a really good look at the town here. This is pretty much it. Huge church in the middle. Yeah, it's alright. There's not a great deal to it, but the island only has a population of like 11,000, so you can't expect a great deal. A lot of little shops and stuff. You can see La Gomera ahead, and then behind it, although you wouldn't necessarily think it was a separate island because you can't see that there's a distinct gap between them, I can see Tenerife, I can see Tide, which is about twice the height of La Gomera. My plan was to go down here, but we're still very much in the clouds on this side. I'm trying to find some sun today. This is La Quietest. Just right by the airport. Where are we? Just at the end of the runway. Not that you need to turn up early for your flight here though. I think like as long as you're there like half an hour before, you're good. So if you just want to be nearby, this is lovely. So there are steps into the sea, but there's also like a swimming pool as well. I guess if the waves are a bit much. And you can see La Gomera, Tenerife. Don't know if this camera's going to pick up, but they are there, I promise.
This rock plays a trick on your eyes. From the north, it looks like a perfect arch, but as you circle round, it morphs into a face staring down the ocean. Locals used to call it a demon, looking for ships to sink.
What's really reassuring walking along here, very much like it wants to drop, is also the state of, I guess, what was the road, because there's a crash barrier. I think we'll get out of here. This is quite an interesting and windy. Okay, the wind's gonna do that. I just did a whole bit about what this area is called and what it's like and how you get here, and then when to hit stop recording, and then it started recording. Fucking idiot. Anyway, so this is quite a unique part of the island. It's called Las Playas on the map, which is the beaches. There are a couple of beaches. They are like pebbly, more like rocky actually. Big pebbles come rocks. But it's interesting because to get here you have to come through this tunnel. It's a 1 kilometre long tunnel through this big mountain behind me here. There's what looks like a hotel, there's some houses, there's a single restaurant, but there's no way up from here. You've got to go back out the way you came. The road ends. Now there are towns and villages on these cliffs behind me, up at the top, but to get to them we need to go back out the way we came in via the airport. So because of that, I guess it's quite isolated. There's not many people here. Although the wind sounds pretty relentless, and it is, the wind's actually quite nice because we're quite warm in the sun here. Quite an interesting little place. Again, Saturday, middle of the day. Not a soul around, look. Nobody. Hello. I say that, here's a car coming. First car that's been here in like 20 minutes, but...
I came to El Hierro to see the end of the world. It isn't trying to be a holiday resort. It's a rock in the Atlantic doing its own thing, ruled entirely by the wind and the ocean. El Hierro doesn't care if you visit, and that's exactly why you should. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really helps. Cheers, see you soon.